came back on counts 2 and 3, but not on count 1 based on the evidence that they had. And this has been 6 weeks that this jury has had where they can look at exactly what this evidence is. Amber Heard detailed horrific abuse, but did the photos, the police body cam footage, the medical records back that up? And the jury said no, and then doubled down on it with that $5 million in punitive damages award and giving her 0 in punitive damages. I think that award number speaks volumes.
Billy, let's talk for a moment about where Johnny and Amber go from here. When you were on our show a few weeks back when this thing was starting, it seemed to be a consensus that this would be bad for everybody's career, that the publicity would not be helpful. Has that changed? Is it possible that Johnny Depp actually does get his career back, like you said?
Are you kidding me? I mean, of course, absolutely. I think they'll let a little time go by, but the guy's never been more popular. There's talk now that, you know, Beetlejuice 2, the sequel to Beetlejuice, will be made with Johnny's very longtime friend, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton. Johnny and Tim are very close, that could happen for him. On Amber's side, she's got 2 movies in the hopper that seem to be coming out, and she's got the problem with Aquaman 2, which is set to be released in 2023, and the petition to have her removed from that online is about 5 million people so far, which is even worse, and her role was greatly diminished in it already. So it's incredibly lopsided.
Phil, you've also been looking into whether anybody gets this money. Does Amber Heard even have the money to pay this $15 million? You know, this thing's going to be appealed. What happens next?
Well, it could be settled privately to take the appeal off the table. That's a possibility. If she has the right kind of umbrella liability policy, civil verdicts could actually be covered under that. But that's for the lawyers to sort out down the road. It was also interesting, and maybe Emily can weigh in on that, and also people who've watched this haven't really understood, what about the First Amendment? What about the right to free speech? She never even named Johnny Depp in that op-ed, and that plays into why this was filed in Virginia and not, say, California.
Well, that's also where the Washington Post is from, and a lot of people online, the latest gripe is look, a lot of people are upset that the ACLU, which was shown to have ghostwritten this article for her, wrote the article, and that the Washington Post just freely published it like this isn't going to be a problem.
But
and
it wasn't just that's where the Washington Post is. Emily, maybe you can explain that legal theory about there's more likely to succeed in a state like Virginia, say, versus California. I think people might be interested in that.
When we get into defamation, there's always a consideration of silencing somebody's speech, and we hold free speech kind of above all. Defamation's not protected speech, but in California, there's a very strong anti-SLAPP statute that can end litigation before it even begins. In Virginia, that statute is used as a defense, and it doesn't stop litigation before you get to discovery. I think this was a very strong strategic choice.
Explain what the SLAPP statute is.
I will. So it's the anti-SLAPPs are anti-strategic litigation against public participation. The thought that you could file a lawsuit to silence someone from releasing a book or releasing an article, to silence them before they even speak by using the courts. So in California, they look at those types of lawsuits very closely, and if you win on your SLAPP suit or your anti-SLAPP motion, then the case is dead in the water. It stops. You win attorney's fees. There's no discovery, so that somebody bringing a defamation suit has to have a lot of proof before they even get into court. In Virginia, they go through that long discovery process where you're getting text messages and body cam footage, and that is part of why I believe they chose Virginia, so that they could get through that discovery process to trial. In California, this case might have gotten kicked out before it started.
Wow, we learned about a whole different kind of slapping on this show tonight. All right, so
a whole different kind of slapping.
Around the horn, we'll start with you, Phil, then to Billy, then to Emily. Maybe 30 seconds, your big takeaway from this entire 6 weeks. Phil.
My big takeaway is that people are fascinated with celebrities' private lives. That's why Billy Bush has a show. You know, in a time where we're emerging from a pandemic, where we've been, dealing with our internal lives for so much, to be able to take a peek literally behind the bedroom door. I mean, I wasn't fascinated by it, but I understand why a lot of people are.
Well, Billy Bush was, and of course, Phil was the star at Extra before Billy Bush. Billy, big takeaway.
I got to say, Geez, I have to tell you, there was so much talk in the beginning, like you mentioned, Alex, that, this is not going to play well. It was the talk of morning radio. It was the talk everywhere. Johnny, what is he doing? He's making a fool of himself. He's dragging us through this terrible thing. It ended up being the greatest play in the world for him and the only play. And I think he is, even the fact that the guy's on stage with Jeff Beck in London while the thing gets read, and it could not have gone better for him. It was a gamble. Everyone thought a huge one, and it paid off incredibly, and it's a bit stunning.
Emily, last word to you.
I think we saw some incredible lawyering in this case, and we saw a worldwide audience taking a look to see if after the loss in the UK, Johnny Depp was going to get a win in U.S. courts. And now we have this very interesting split decision where the UK found against him and the U.S. found for him. And I think that captivated people. But I think at the end of the day, we got to see exactly how U.S. courts work, how the jury system works. And I think a lot of people understand maybe the law just a little bit better.
And we understand slaps, too. A reminder, you can watch Extra with